Hey everybody, Silveus. Finally hit my level 90. Got my, already owned a Warsinger bow. Finally can use it now because I can finally start using crystalline arrows, which is where it's all at. Previously, I was stuck to envenomed arrows, who deal half their damage through earth damage, and as anybody who's played Tibia knows, basically everything's immune to earth damage, or at least highly resistant to it. So it was pointless. Anyway, I figured I'd hunt something cool with them, so I figured Hydras in Port Hope, Taekwondo, whatever. So it looks like nobody's here, and I haven't fought a Hydra in a while, so I sort of forget the trick to it. I'm going to run under the assumption that the trick is just not die. Hydra are an awkward thing for a paladin to hunt a little bit. You can't really, like, majorly increase your damage potential as a paladin. Like, your spells aren't going to do all that much extra damage. You do have, also, Hydras are resistant to divine damage, so if you're going to hunt them and use magic, you want to use, well, not Divine Strike. You want to stick to Enchanted Spirit, is what it's called. Yeah, the problem is that they heal a bunch, and that makes it kind of awkward for a paladin to, like, overwhelm their healing, since you don't really have a lot of decent capacity to, like, break their shielding. Not break their shielding, what am I talking about? You don't have a lot of capacity to, like, step up your damage. You kind of just equip your best weapon and roll with it and hope for the best. Which works, as you can see. It's just a little awkward, and then it makes things like missing easy shots, you know, like, or hitting really low minimum damage attacks repeatedly, way annoying, because you really don't want to be doing that when you're fighting an enemy that heals a bunch. And to make matters worse, there isn't a lot of, like, a lot of these Hydras are in awkward locations where it's sort of hard to run them and avoid their waves. Can be done, though, as you can, again, see. Now, I sort of forget how this is. Yeah, I knew this is down here. Now, this is the part I sort of forget. Sorry. I'm not fighting 3 of them at once. That's a little bit beyond my ability. Upside, though, is I still have other options. So a lot of times people will run from this spawn to the southern spawn here, and that's precisely what I want to do. Although I'm going to kill that. Like, I should definitely be able to kill an elephant in one hit. It's absurd that I'm having a hard time. So yeah, there's another Hydra spawn right here to the south, which I'm going to go to. It actually has, I think, more Hydras in it. Yeah, I think it has 4. If you're feeling reckless or confident, you can just kind of run past everything and hope that you don't get, like, boxed in. Because that would, you know, suck. Ugh, I took that wave right with my face. So this first one, kind of like the first one in the last spot, doesn't have a good running area, because you do not want to run it further and get a second one on you. Unless you're confident in your ability to fight 2 of them at once, in which case, go for it. You could probably hunt Hydra. Now, I don't know how profitable it would be, but you could probably hunt Hydra with Assassin Stars just by, like, keeping diagonal and keep your shield up and just let them hit you with their melees. Yeah, I think you probably could pull that off. Even without getting lucky on the loot end. Yeah, that's something I might want to try at some point. That said, my Warsinger bow plus these guys is a more offensive set than my Assassin Stars, so I'm all about dealing massive amounts of damage now. So that's why this is awesome to me. Plus, if everything goes right, it works out pretty well. Alright, so I got the southern Hydra. Now there's a northern Hydra here. And then there'll be another Hydra back down that way. Most of the Hydra's damage comes from its waves. Its melee is, like, decent, but Like, its melee is, like, Orc Berserker decent, I should say. So, I mean, like, ideally I'm not letting it hit me, but it's not a huge deal. Most of their damage, pretty much all of their damage, comes from the waves. They do shoot 2 waves, the, like, Steam Water Wave, which I don't remember what kind of damage it deals. The Earth Wave, which obviously deals Earth damage. They also shoot an Icicle attack, which was that right there. They do an area effect, Paralyze, which is that, like, poison burst it does, like poison fireball type spell. And then they have their melee. So they can spam pretty decently. Most of their damage, again, though, comes from the waves. So if you can just keep diagonal, you do fine with them. That's also assuming that you can overcome their healing. And that's the big deal with Hydras. It's their big shtick, is even if they can't kill you effectively, it's very possible you can't kill them effectively. That said, they are usually pretty profitable. I forget exactly what they drop that's most valuable. Anyway, we're going to go over yonder, because there's one more Hydra over here in an underground area, which I'm going to hop down and murder. Ugh. Came right down on the waves. Also, in this area is a, like, mini quest, if you will. You use the little Hydra egg nest up there, and then you get an actual Hydra egg. Oh, I did not mean to take that extra step down. So yeah, you use this, you get a Hydra egg. It's a one-time thing. I don't know if they're used for anything specific, but I know they can be sold to the Explorers Guild in Port Hope by going up to the guy and saying Hydra egg, and then he'll give you 500 for it if you say yes afterwards. Unfortunately, you have to say that the whole, like, yes, Hydra egg deal for each one you want, which is why a lot of people don't bother picking them up, because it's a hassle. On the other hand, though, it's 500 gold, and I'm picking up 500 gold. And then this is the Surface Hydra that I think most people probably encounter at some point, especially when they're doing that one Rashid quest that has them running from Darashia to Port Hope. Previously, this guy would be lured all over the place, and you would find him in all sorts of... oh, I'm out of arrows. In all sorts of places that you don't want him to be. Like, you know, right here, for instance. At the stairs. Crap. It's my main regret that I can't peel the skin off of Hydra. Although you can rip their heads off, so I guess that counts for something. But it's not I can't, like, I don't get to use a tool to rip their heads off. It just happens sometimes. If I had to say the one most annoying thing about the Port Hope jungle, it's all the stupid crap monsters that are just constantly in the way. This, like, wave of, you know... I guess it would be different if I wasn't a paladin. I could just kill them as a knight. But it's way annoying on a paladin when I'm like, oh, I gotta waste my valuable arrows on stupid elephants and wasps. Trick here, by the way, is to make sure that you don't accidentally run close enough to a second Hydra to get more than one on you at a time. Ugh. I went down a little bit low there. There we go. $18 gold is kind of lame, though. I could probably do better than that. So yeah, Hydra give a nice amount of, like, just base gold and stuff like that, and then they also have a bunch of really nice loot that I still can't remember what any of it's called. It's been a really long time since I went to hunt Hydras. I hunted here a couple of times with my friend who was a knight, and he blocked for me. But, like, it wasn't super profitable for him because he ended up just taking all of their waves. Oh boy. That was a little scary. And that's where Hydra becomes scary. Whoops. There we go. And it also fully healed while I was lollygagging down there. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've been down here last. Although on that note, the last time I was actually hunting here, that night friend was with me, but so was this a friend of ours who started a druid and who was just like his like goal in life was to Exercio, or heal friend, my buddy. So like that was all he wanted to do was just always be Exercioing him. But he was just barely a high enough level to actually cast that spell. So like it kind of served no purpose to have him there. And then all he did was get way too close to the Hydra so that he could like, as a joke, strike them without actually targeting them. Like, you know, going like this. So he'd get way too close to the Hydra so that he could do that with like a fire strike. Or lightning strike. And then he screwed up and died like 3 times. It was kind of hilarious. Like, he's running back and forth. I'm all, like, standing still in the ideal location for me to just keep firing arrows at the Hydra, you know? Because that's what I want to do. Stand still and shoot the Hydra. And he's going back and forth, up and down, and then you just see him disappear. He just goes away all of a sudden. I'm like, what happened to him? His character's name was Hipster for Life. And then his other character's name was Lyrical Dream Extreme. It was a good guy, though. Good guy. Alright. Get some more Hydra down here. Yeah, see, the ideal way to do Hydras as a paladin is diagonal. It's kind of how you want to do everything that hits with waves. Go diagonal. But it's no good if you can't actually run them diagonal, because I also don't want to be in melee with it. I'm really bad at dodging Hydra waves here, I guess it is. I don't know if Hydra waves are like larger than dragon waves or not, but I have a horrible time dodging them. I'm always like right on the cusp of almost getting out of it, and then I just take it with my face every single time. Put my other Ring of Healing on. My goal here is to try to keep hunting until I can get some kind of cool loot. But we'll see how that goes. See, he knew that was the worst way and the most annoying way for him to position himself. Bam. So not a lot of good loot so far. And by that I mean none. No creature products. Nothing. 664 crystalline arrows left. That's something. Oh man, crystalline arrows, Warsinger bow, everything about this is just amazing. Look, I can actually hit enemies that are now on the edge of the screen, something I couldn't do with my Arbalist. It had less range. The Tibia screen is 7 tiles left and right, and then 5 up and down, which is weird to me. Ugh. Oh boy. That was scary. Alright. I'm gonna not keep killing the Hydra that's on the ground floor, but I am gonna get the one that's in the cave. Because that's a little bit more in the actual direction that I'm currently going. Got poisoned. Yay. Yeah, I wish all this crap wasn't here. I mean, the elephants are basically as strong as Cyclopses, and then you got things like Carnophilia, all these wasps and other stuff that's in your way. Like, I don't think there's any other place besides things like the Plains of Havoc that are as annoying and dangerous just on the surface. And even then, the Plains of Havoc are only really dangerous if you're kind of where the dragons are. Oh, it didn't respawn. That's surprising. Yeah, the Plains of Havoc are only really dangerous if you're where the giant spiders spawn, or maybe where you would find the I don't know. I'm sure there's something that's semi-dangerous in the Plains of Havoc. I guess maybe the Orc Berserkers. The dragons. There are dragons on the surface, but the dragons are kind of easy to run away from. The giant spider is hard to run away from. Same with the Orc Berserkers, although I feel like the level range where Orc Berserkers are a legitimate threat to a character is kind of is limited. They used to be a lot more of a threat. But good equipment became a lot easier to buy. Skills are easier to get because of the offline training. In general, I would just say that like a Tibian of level 50 is way more powerful than a Tibian in the past of level 50. Which is also funny because a Tibian in the past of level 50 was way more of an achievement than it is currently. Like you can hit, I think you could probably, if you're premium of course, you could probably hit level 50 in maybe like a week of play. Easily. Easily. And you can probably get like some decently high skills in that amount of time too. Look at that, 575 damage. I'm so excited about this bow. I've been waiting for so long. Level 80, and then I died like 1,000 times while I was trying to get from level 80 to 90. I was so disappointed when I found out about that stupid crap with the envenomed arrows in the first place, too. The worst part is this bow is, like, insanely expensive. And you get it from a quest that I think you need to have, like... You know, I don't remember if it had a minimum level or not, but I know it was, like, an insanely difficult quest. So there was, like, no way you would be doing that quest to actually get this bow. So yeah, I got this bow at 80. It cost a ton of money. Like a stupid amount of money. Because the other things I got at 80 was, well, I forgot about the Elite Draken boots at 75. I got them at, or no, they are for 80. Never mind. It was the gear wheel thing, because I didn't even realize that existed. Yeah, gear wheel chain. Gear wheel chain I think I got for 10k. The boots were like 70k. The Yalahari legs were, I want to say, I think they were around 200k. I already had the Paladin armor back from when I could first equip it, which I guess was right away. The Zoan helmet, I think, was one of the more expensive things I purchased at the beginning of the game, and it was like 65, 67k, I think, somewhere around that area. I had Zonin legs before my Yalahari legs here, and I had purchased and was able to like afford the Zoan legs, the Zoan legs, boots of haste, paladin armor, and like whatever my bow was at that point, I guess. Like right away, but I had to actually save up to get the Zoan helmet. Zoan helmet's really good too. Armor 9, physical protection 5. It's actually like surprisingly huge. It's better than the demon helmet, which is the next, which is just armor value 10. And you can't really, like, most people don't use any other helmet. At least, now there's a whole bunch of different things that are, like, provide resistances or also, like, up skills. So I think the prismatic helmet is used by knights. And I'm sure there's a helmet that increases magic level that, that, like, mages, sorcerers, and druids will use. And when I hit 100, I'll buy something called, like, Elite Draken Helmet, I think. That's also going to cost me a stupid amount of money. But that's going to have, like, I think it's armor value 8, but it boosts distance. So I'll give up a little bit of my durability for higher damage potential. Small sapphire. I think that's the first, like, item that I've looted. That was the Hydra from up here, right? Okay. I kind of stopped paying attention there for a second. Ate the wave. Some people ride the wave. I eat the wave. Funny little mini story for people who don't watch my FTL Let's Plays. I was doing a Let's Play for FTL, right? And there's like a race of people in the game called Zoltans. And I guess part of their like mythology, and I'm not sure how much of this is in the vanilla game and how much was in the mods that I downloaded, but they're basically like Buddhist monks, kind of. They're all like spiritual and like meditative, and you know, they contemplate the like meaning of life and things like that. Anyway, long story short is that they're like martial monks, you know, like hand-to-hand combatants kind of stuff. So when my ship got boarded at one point, they were fighting, and I was like, oh yeah, my Zoltan dudes are over here like kung fu fighting. And then I remember that song that was like from the 90s. Everybody was kung fu fighting. And then I was like, dude, I gotta play the song. So like I paused my recording so that I could get onto YouTube and find the song and play the song. It's kind of annoying that Hydra comes down right in front of the stairs each time. So yeah, I played the song, and then I started singing along with it. To the inevitable horror of everybody who would have listened to it. Unfortunately, when I came back from YouTube to like hit play on the song, I accidentally misclicked and did not hit play on the recording, or on the like program that does my recordings, I should say. So all of my singing and like part of my video actually that I thought was being recorded was just never recorded. So my beautiful singing voice was just not picked up and was not relayed to any of the people that watch my videos. It was a sad day for me, because I feel like everybody should hear my singing at least once in their life. It's like it's like a learning experience for you. On the topic of things that I think everybody should do at least once in their life, I think everybody should work in customer service and wait on the public. I've worked customer service and I've worked like retail. The public sucks. Like, the average human being that goes into a grocery store is the worst thing ever. Anyway, since I was talking about my videos, I think I'm going to throw this in here now. You should totally like, favorite, comment, and subscribe to my videos and my channel. It's vital that you do so. Vital. Absolutely vital. See, if somebody had liked me right then, I wouldn't have only gotten 17 gold from that stupid Hydra. Instead, I did, and it's all somebody else's fault for not liking or subscribing to my channel. To be honest, I know this is like incredibly unlikely. Hey look, I got a Hydra ad. I'm really hoping that I can somehow, like, through ads on YouTube or in some other manner. Hydra head. Weighs 13 ounces. I'm really hoping that I can somehow, like, either through ads or through some other means, like, make this doing Let's Plays into a money option. I'm not looking to be the next, like, super famous dude who does YouTube videos and makes, like, a bajillion $1 million a week or something like that. I'm not even looking to make this, like, replace a day job. But it would be cool if it could get me some, like, extra spending money. It doesn't need to, though. I mean, because I am playing a video game, which is something that I, like, legitimately enjoy. And I am kind of just rambling and talking to myself, essentially, which is something that I do anyway. Somebody just was like, it's just like... You stand there and you play video games all the time, and you talk to yourself all the time. You might as well just record yourself, and, see if you can put it on YouTube. So I was like, it's a shame that everybody knows that I'm crazy and talk to myself, but whatever. I don't actually talk to myself all that often. All that often. I had a teacher in school, I forget what grade, but he said, it's okay to talk to yourself, and it's okay to even answer yourself. Because, you might be like, okay, what do I want for dinner tonight? And then, you could be like, I think I'll get takeout, Chinese food. He's like, that's all, like, fine. It's okay to talk to yourself, it's okay to answer yourself, but you have a problem when there's a third person there. And I'm like, you know what? That is words to live by right there. Probably. Still think that you should avoid talking to yourself in public if you can help it. That'll give some people some bad ideas. I'm actually interested in being crazy and things like that. May not know it, but I've actually taken a whole bunch of various college courses on like psychology and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually, as like a human being, I'm a pretty like fitting jack of all trades kind of type of person. Jack of all trades, master of none. Fits me pretty well. I have a huge variety of like random trivial knowledge, but I also like, for example, like I know how to play every single sport that any normal person would know. I'm sure there's like obscure sports, and I don't know the exact rules for like, you know, hey, a war helmet, sick. I don't know the exact rules for like competitive badminton. But, and obviously I spend a lot of my time playing video games, so it's not like I'm terribly athletic. I would not be skilled at playing a sport, but like if I absolutely had to, like I could play football right now. I could play baseball. I could play cricket. I could play water polo. I could play golf. I could play hockey. I could play lacrosse. I could play field hockey. I can play basketball. I can play soccer. And I don't even really like doing any kind of like outdoorsy or activities or anything that really makes me sweat. I hate sweating, by the way. That's why I was complaining so furiously before I got my air conditioner set up. So yeah, I know all sports. I know like basic engineering stuff. I know basic mechanical stuff, psychology, history. Not to like toot my own horn or anything, of course, but I just find topics that I think are interesting and then like study them. Also, I mean, this is gonna probably lower anybody who watches me's opinion of me, but I'm an amateur writer, and I'm absolutely not telling anybody on my stream about any of the stories I've ever written, just for the record. Or I'm not giving you any like web addresses or anything for now. Although, considering that I use Silveus for basically like every website that I sign up for and things like that, I suppose if you really wanted to, you could probably find a story that I wrote. Anyway, one of the interesting things about writing a story is whenever you're like, okay, my characters or something need to do this thing, but it's a thing that you don't know about, you have to like research it so that it's obvious to your like readers that you're not just completely like making crap up. And you can learn a lot of interesting things from that. Ugh. Ugh. How many crystalline arrows do I have left? I was really hoping I would get like something really cool. I'm gonna real quick pause as I hop down here. No, I'm not. Hold on. No, yeah, I guess I can. Alright, I'm gonna pause down here real quick and look and see what Hydras can actually drop. Okay, Hydras drop Knight Armor, Warrior Helmets, Royal Helmets, Boosts of Haste, Boots of Hastes, and Medusa Shields. Also, Rings of Healing, and a couple of other things. So yeah, I was hoping I would get a Medusa Shield would be pretty cool. Boots of Haste would be really, really, really cool. Royal Helmet would also be really, really cool. I remember back on my original character, I was a mage, which makes this make slightly less sense. But there we go. Hey, another Warrior Helmet, sick. I had upgraded from my Crusader helmet finally and gotten a Royal Helmet, which was like by far the best piece of equipment I had. I was like still probably using Noble Armor. I don't think I ever had Knight Armor on my original character. Same with legs. So I was probably using like Plate Legs and Noble Armor. Crusader Helmet. Probably regular boots. I know my mage, who I haven't showcased here yet, and probably never will because I don't have hotkeys set for her. She was the first character I ever had Boots of Haste on. And she's also not my original character. So let's see, I probably had regular boots. The best shield I ever had was a crown shield, although for a period of time I did use a tower shield. I never used the dragon shield, for whatever reason. But yeah, I remembered I like saved up all of my money. I saw, this is, you know, before the marketplace existed, so you had to just trade via the trade channel. So it's kind of like, okay, I have this much money on me right now, let's see who's selling what and what I can buy. So somebody was like selling a royal helmet for an amount of money that I could afford. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy a royal helmet. I bought that royal helmet and I was like, oh my god. I felt like so proud of myself. A royal helmet, armor value 9, you know, on top of my my noble armor value 11, my plate legs. I don't even know what armor value plate legs have. I was so proud of myself, and I got PK'd like an hour later, and it got taken. It was a soul crushing experience, let me tell you. Way back then, I fell to the little trick of being like, somebody going up to you and being like, show helmet. And be like, what? And they'd be like, show helmet. I'd be like, They'd be like, show helmet. And I'd be like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. And they'd be like, ah. And then they'd throw their, like, steel helmet on the ground. I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I threw my crown helmet on the floor, and then they took it and just ran away. And I was like, oh, what? What? Yeah, I fell for that. I had a friend who, So my weird, like, storied Tibia history was when I was in 10th grade. One of my classmates was like, yo, you should try playing this game called Tibia. So I tried playing it, and this was, like, again, this was back when Bubbles was the highest level. Or was, no, Sunshine? I can't remember which one was Sunshine and which one was Bubbles. One of them was the highest level on, I think, Antica, and the other one was the highest Rookguard character. I don't remember which one was which. I think Bubbles was the highest level character. So this is back when, like, Bubbles was the highest level character and was, like, level 120. Before Eternal Oblivion and before a whole bunch of other people came and became the highest level characters. So my friend was, like, level 57 or something like that, which was, like, you know, legitimately an achievement. And not something that you could do in a week now. So anyway, you know, he hooked me up with some, like, starter equipment and stuff like that. But, you know, I sucked, and I also played a knight because it seemed easier. So, I mean, it's not like 2 knights can effectively hunt. And then this was also back when, you know, instant spells still were terrible. Actually, just attacking, playing as a mage to, like, kill things was actually just incredibly difficult back then. So, it's not like we ever hunted together. So anyway, though, after 10th grade, in 11th grade, I was, well, to digress a little bit, before 10th grade, I went to a different school, and not to make this sound like I'm, like, an idiot or anything like that. It was a charter school, though, so it's, like, one of those schools that, you can go to instead of your normal, like, public school. So I went to this charter school. It's actually, like, a cool system and everything. I know they're, at least in America, they're, like, politically controversial, but I was happy with the school. The important thing, though, was that the school year, normally in America, school years are 180 days long, and they run, like, I think it's like 7.5 hours. So school days there ran like 8.5 hours, and the school year was 200. So normally, when you complete like a year of math, you get 1 credit worth of math, and then you need like 4 credits of math to graduate or something like that, which would translate into 1 math class a year. At that school, because the days were so long and the like material was like slightly more advanced and difficult. Again, this was not like I didn't go to the school because like I wasn't talented or anything like that. In fact, my school like experience has been pretty bad, and I'll get to that too in a second, I suppose. But anyway, the school was like more advanced than a normal school. So instead of a normal 1 credit for completing a class, you would get 1.5. So when I left that school district and then went to another school district that was by far less advanced, all of my classes had like extra credits in them. So I was like further along than a person in my grade should have normally been at that point. So then I doubled up on classes and skipped things like study halls. So it wasn't too noticeable in 10th grade, but in 11th grade, well, I guess it was pretty noticeable. In 10th grade, for instance, I took like 11th grade social studies and 11th grade math. And then in 11th grade, I took up a whole bunch of different 12th grade things. And I took almost nothing besides, I think, English that was actually a 10th grade course. Sorry, 11th grade course. So, ooh, Medusa shield. Sick. And a cucumber. Yeah. Can do so many things with that cucumber. There we go. I feel like this is worthy of a screenshot. Also probably worthy of somebody running by and stealing all of my stuff, but whatever. Screw them. Anyway. So yeah, most of my friends at that point were always like 1 year above me for the obvious reason, because I was barely in any classes of people in my own grade. So I ended up becoming friends with this 12th grader dude when I was in 11th grade. And he also played Tibia. So we ended up becoming friends with the computer lab like teacher dude. And he would let us play Tibia during like lunch breaks and stuff like that. So we'd quick like eat our meal, or sometimes we just take it to the computer lab anyway. And then we would eat like school cafeteria food and get our fingers all greasy and then touch the school computers and play Tibia. It's good times. Anyway, I bring him up because he got scammed so many times. He was a knight, and he saved up money to buy a giant shield. And again, this was when the giant shield was like the premier two-handed weapon for at least sword fighting in Tibia. And like nobody really sold the sword of valor, the magic sword, from the Annihilator. So like the only way you could get that was by actually completing the Annihilator. Whereas on the other hand, you could buy a giant sword for like 40k, which I know sounds absurd because most of the time giant swords I think sell for like around the NPC price. Anyway, so he like goes to purchase it. So he goes to like trade it with the guy, and the guy like opens up the trade window because again, this is before the market existed. And he like hits OK, and the trade doesn't go through, and the dude's like, hold on, my like inventory's filled. So they like do the trade again. He's like, Jesus, hold on. So he keeps like the trade keeps not going through. So and he keeps being like, hold on, I'll fix it. I had too many items in that backpack or something like that. So he like throws some stuff on the ground, like some empty vials or whatever. So finally, you know, he puts it up again, and my friend's just like, okay, trade, go. So the trade goes through, and then my friend's like walking away, and he goes to equip his giant sword, and then he looks at it, and it was not a giant sword, it was a two-handed sword. The dude kept like doing that trick so that my friend would just not pay attention and okay the trade, and then my friend ended up accidentally spending like 35k on a two-handed sword. Which was like hilarious to me, but not to him, obviously. And then a couple weeks later, he was hunting in the Shadow Tomb in Anchorman, if you know where that is. And he killed a vampire and actually got a vampire shield. So he was like, oh my god! So he's trying to sell the vampire shield. Now keep in mind, this happened during school. We're in the like we're not in the cafeteria. We're in the like computer lab during lunch. There is like a class in there doing like project reports or something. I don't know. They're doing research. So he's like, oh my god, I finally got a vampire shield. So he's looking to sell it, and they settle on a price of 40k for it. Because again, this was back before, you know, things were easy to loot and whatnot. So yeah, they settle on a price for 40k. So he goes and finds the guy. And the guy, like, you know, starts the trade, and then the trade gets canceled, and he's like, what happened? The guy's like, oh god, I don't have enough cap, hold on. So he does it again, and then he's like, I don't have enough like inventory space. So you know, it's the same thing. They go back and forth canceling the trade, and my friend's like, dude, you know, like lunch is almost over, I gotta do this trade soon. So finally the guy, you know, the trade goes through, and he's like, my friend's like, thank god, that took forever. And then he goes to deposit the money, and he realizes that at some point the dude swapped out the crystal coins and then was just using platinum coins. So he sold the vampire shield for 400 GP. Oh man, and then he was freaking out, like screaming while there was a class in there. Good times. I died once and was like freaking out, screaming in the computer lab in school while like other people are there, and the teacher's like, you need to not scream obscenities so much right now. Like, oh, I'm sorry, but I just beep, beep, died. Beep this game. It's actually funny too, because the time I died was like somewhere around here. Actually, I think I died. I got like swarmed by elephants or something. So I died, and the way I had always come here was through the mountain. I had never walked through the jungle, because you run into, like, carnophilia and stuff like that. So I'm like, crap, I died. And the worst part was, like, I died on the, like, last elephant or so that I was going to try to kill. I don't remember the exact details. But what I do specifically remember of is that I died while there was only, like, 2 minutes left of the lunch break. And I didn't have blessings. And I'm, you know, was a mage, and I dropped my, like, my wand of Inferno, or whatever the wand was I was using at that point. So, like, I had to get that back. So I'm like, after I freak out, and the teacher, the, like, computer lab assistant guy is like, okay, you can't scream obscenities in the room right now. I'm like, alright, I can't, I have to go get my stuff. So I'm, like, back into Russia. I don't have any money. So I, like, run to Anchorman. I start, like, crossing the stupid mountain, the, like, long and boring way. And I'm freaking out. The, like, bell rings. So now I'm, like, lunch is over. And then we had, I think it was, like, 7 minutes to get to class. So then 7 minutes, and I'm just barely at, like, the mountain of Anchorman, and, like, moving into, you know, where there's that one nomad over the bridge, if anybody knows that. So I'm, like, just barely getting over to that when the bell rings and it's telling me I'm supposed to be in my science class. So I'm like, oh, man. So I'm just like, and the teacher is like, you know that was the bell. I'm like, I know. He's like, okay, you're gonna be late. I'm like, I know. He's like, I'm not gonna write you a hall pass. I'm like, that's fine. He's like, you should probably go to class. I'm like, I'm not until I get my weapon back. I'm sorry, that's more important than science class. So yeah, it ended up being like 15 minutes late to science class, because then I had to go back into town. You know, I couldn't just log out there. So yeah, I was like 15, 20 minutes late for science class. I, like, stroll in, I'm all, like, you know, tired, because I was, like, stressed out from this whole experience, and then, you know, I kind of, like, ran to get to the class as soon as I could. So my science teacher's like, you're really late. And his name was Mr. Luck. I don't know if he's still teaching or not. I'm also actually not 100% certain if he's still alive or not. He was a really good guy. And he had actually, like, I had kind of showcased Tibia to him before. I was really good at science. And I need to go on, like, a little mini tangent right here. I was always really good at science. And the way my school set it up was, like, when I first went into that school after coming out of the other school, because there was a weirdness with the credits from that other school, they were kind of like, okay, we need to, like, we can't just put you in normal classes. We need to kind of figure out what you're doing with you. So it basically meant, like, I guess, like, a counselor and, like, a teacher that knows, like, what's in the different classes had to meet with me and my mom and be like, okay, so do you want to put him in, like, this science or that science? So my mom, I think because she never really liked me and also didn't bother to, like, learn anything about me ever, decided, like, arbitrarily that I was just really, really bad at science for some reason. So when they were like, okay, what science do you want to put him in? My mom was like, oh, yeah, I'll put him in, like, science for idiots. I was like, I would rather be in, like, real science. But, so, yeah, they had me in science, like, stupid kid science. Which was, like, cool, I guess. So that was in 10th grade. And then I kind of wanted to get out of stupid kid science, because stupid kid science was actually a lot stupider than it sounds. Also, in an effort to, like, completely alienate anybody who ever, like, finds me and who knows who I am and stuff like that, that school district was horrible. That was, like, the stupidest people I think I've ever met. The stuff that I was learning in, like, 10th grade science was stuff that I had learned, like, in 5th grade science in my previous school district. Like, everybody was mind-bogglingly stupid. As an actual example of that, we had a debate in class over whether or not dinosaurs, like, existed. And I'm not meaning, like, whether or not dinosaurs still exist. I mean, like, whether or not there were ever things called dinosaurs on the planet Earth. And it was, like, me and 2 other people that were arguing that, yes, dinosaurs did in fact exist. And then the rest of the, like, 15, 20 people in the class were like, no. Dinosaurs are fake. Big lizards like that don't make any sense. They can't have existed. And all the fossils that have been ever found, all the skeletons and whatnot, are fake. They're hoaxes. They are hoaxes there to somehow... I don't even know what they're doing. But they're a millennium-long hoax that thousands of different people have propagated for no clear reason. And all these people did it without being able to, like, communicate with each other, and while being, like, on opposite sides of wars and, like, ideological differences with each other and stuff like that. But they all did it for some reason. That was how stupid my class was. Anyway. So, yeah, I also, like, my mom put me in a stupid history. And after stupid history, I was like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. I need to get, like, out of stupid history. I stayed in stupid English the whole time, by the way. I was fine with stupid English because I hated doing, like, reports, essentially. So anyway, so there I am in stupid social studies, and after that, I was like, okay, I would like to not be in stupid social studies. So the guidance counselor, as I was moving into, like, 11th grade, was like, okay, well, requirement for not being in stupid... I think it was called, like, integrated history, and I wanted to be an academic. A requirement for being in integrated history was, like, getting at least an 80 on your final, like, score or something for integrated. So I'm like, okay, I can pull that off. The requirement for being in academic science was getting a 70 or above on academic science the year before. Well, I wasn't in academic science. I was in integrated science. So I was incapable of meeting the requirement because the requirement was already be in academic science. So I was not able to get out of science for idiots in my school district, and I had to stay there. So what that meant was, and the reason why it's relevant to the story right now, is I was always, like, finishing my assignments super early in that class. And I was always, like, on really good terms with the teacher because, you know, I could understand what he was saying and then not get angry and then blame my failures on him like everybody else does. So anyway, long story short, he had allowed me to put Tibia, so, like, my friendship with the computer computer-like lab teacher dude, eventually proceeded to the point where he gave me his administrative code so I could, like, install programs on the school computers and on the school network. So I eventually had Tibia on all of the computers. So whenever I would, like, finish assignments quickly in my science class, I would just kind of go over to the teacher's computer and play Tibia if it was cool. He was such an awesome teacher. So yeah, anyway, though, I come to his class, like, 15 minutes late, and he had, like, I had showed him how Tibia works and stuff like that. And he had even, like, minorly played it a little bit during class the one time. So he's like, dude, why are you so late to my class? I'm like, I died in Port Hope and lost my weapon. And he's like, oh, okay, I totally understand. It's fine. He just let me... It was just fine. It wasn't a problem that I was just massively late to his class. He was such a good guy. I remember, not to keep going off on, like, school-related tangents, but he had... I assume most people have probably seen these. They were little, like, wooden balls colored differently with, like, wooden pegs. And the purpose for these was you would, like, hook them together to make, like, molecules. So the one day we had to do this, like... Did they not respawn, or did I already kill them? Am I just not paying attention? I think they just didn't respawn yet. That's cool. Anyway. So he's got us, like, doing this assignment where we need to make the, like, molecules, and it's, like, this little simple task. It's nothing major. And they were, like, really, really old, right? And, like, kind of fragile, and some of them would, like, splinter if you hit them too hard. So he starts making this joke. He's like, okay, now, I want you to all be careful with your balls and your stick, because we don't want anybody to break their balls or break their sticks in my class. So, like, you know, everybody giggled. That's whatever. So, this was one of those classes where it had, like, a an area for desks, and then it also had like lab tables. So it was like a really big classroom. So we're all in groups over by the jeez, I'm about to sneeze. I sneezed. So, you know, we're all in groups. Some of the kids go back to their tables and are like doing homework or sleeping. And then I realized you could kind of make these together and make them into like a spinning top. You know what I'm talking about? So what we did was we took like a whole bunch of them and made like elaborate shapes out of them. And then we had battles where we would spin them and try to like knock them into each other's, and whoever's broke apart and fell out, the first was like the loser. So half the class is doing that, and we're smashing these things in pieces, and they're going all over the place. The teacher's there, and he's juggling the balls while making ball jokes. So he's like, oh man, I'm juggling the balls, but I'm not touching those sticks. I can't juggle sticks. I can only juggle the balls. Half the class is sleeping or on like cell phones. And then that's when the principal came in to like see what was going on. It was like the most awkward moment. He's like still juggling all the balls, so right as the principal comes in, he just kind of puts them all into his pocket and is like, do 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 do. It was good times. He was such a good teacher. Oh man. Unfortunately, he forget where he told me he lived, but he used to live somewhere when he was like a kid, and there was like a chemical plant. This is America, by the way. I just want to keep that in mind. So there was like a chemical plant nearby, and like any kind of chemical plant, it produces like waste products. So I did that wrong. So the like chemical plant hired like a waste disposal company to like take care of the waste, right? So they would come in with like a dump truck, fill it up with all these like various chemical sludge and like, you know, just goo. And then they would take it to wherever they were processing it. And the chemical plant didn't ask any questions because, you know, it's like the waste disposal guys are like, don't worry, we're taking care of it. Well, by taking care of it, what they actually meant was they drove around the back roads of the town with the back of their dump truck slightly open. And as they did like loops around the roads, it would just constantly like leave a layering of toxic sludge. Kind of like how salt trucks work. They just spray salt as they go. Except in this case, again, it was toxic sludge. So it was actually like 10 years or something until somebody realized something was happening. And one of the things that actually had triggered them off was the fact that the road wasn't getting any potholes, because all this like sludge was landing on top of it and like hardening on the road. And when somebody finally like went out there to like investigate why the road didn't have any potholes, not only did it not have any potholes, but the sludge that they dumped over it for like a decade had actually raised the level of the road by like 2 or 3 inches or something like that. So eventually it was like this whole big thing, and the company went like bankrupt. But, you know, in the meantime, everybody was there, and every time it would rain, it would like mix with this chemical sludge and then just go into their like groundwater. So, like, as he got older, a whole bunch of the people that like lived there all came down with like horrible forms of cancer and other like various illnesses, and you know, died. So he was like, I guess, probably in his late 20s by the time I was in his class. And he was saying how like some of his other like relatives had already had cancer and like died, and I think he had already beaten cancer like once, of some form. So he was a really good guy, but there's a chance that he's not alive anymore. He was a really good guy though. I will say, like, while the students in that school district were all incredibly stupid, and they really, really, really were. A lot of the teachers were like, you know, okay, I think I'll say this in general, but I think a lot of really stupid people are also really, really nice. Like, sometimes you meet a guy who's, like, dumb as a brick, but he is the kindest, nicest, like, generous person. And I think a lot of times, like, intelligent people, I mean, if you think about it, like, most CEOs aren't really known for their generosity, but since they're CEOs, you can conclude they're probably loaded. Alright, I think I'll kill these Hydras one last time, and then I'll head back to Anchorman. Yeah, that sounds like a game plan. So yeah, like a lot of the teachers in that school district were like just phenomenally nice and like dedicated and helpful. There was another teacher I had who was the science teacher before I had Mr. Luck, and I think he was like one of the most dedicated teachers I've ever seen. Like, this man forced you to learn. And it was, to be fair, it was kind of annoying. Like, he had this thing where you had to write all of your answers in complete sentences. Even when it was like a thing that you didn't need to write a complete sentence for, you know? Like, I don't know, like, what is something that's on a plant cell that's not on an animal cell? And the answer is kind of like a cell wall. You would have to actually write the thing that's on a animal, or the thing that animal cells lack but that plant cells have is a cell wall. And if you did not write in a complete sentence, he would count that question as an incorrect answer. So you would just get like a 0 on that answer. So it was like kind of tough like that. And he also said if you left an answer blank, you would just get no points on the entire paper. And then he demanded, so that he could like help you solve your problems, he demanded that when you didn't know the answer to a question, you had to write as much as you did and explain why you couldn't answer the question. Now, obviously, for things like that cell wall question I just gave as an example, the reason why you couldn't answer that is because you don't know what that piece is. But, like, for other more complicated things, you would have to be like, okay, like, I understand how, like, water condenses in the atmosphere, but I don't understand how it becomes rain clouds. And that way he would actually, like, read all of your answers and then come back to you afterwards and be like, okay, let me answer your questions. So he was, like, a really good teacher, but, oh my god, did everybody in class hate him so much. Nobody wanted to answer the questions in complete sentences, so they just wouldn't, and then he would, give them 0s, and then they were failing. I thought he was a really nice guy, though. For anybody who's still in high school, by the way, you should... I know, like, you've probably heard this before, but, like, high school is the greatest time of your life. Because, okay, to be fair, American high schools are going to be the greatest time of your life. I have no idea what high school is like in other countries compared to what I experienced in America. If there's any foreigners, and I'm almost positive there are foreigners watching this, and you want to comment about what your high school life is like, feel free, because I'm actually interested in that. In fact, that's actually one of the things I like about Tibia, and I'll come on to this topic later on. But I enjoy hearing like other people's opinions about things. That, like, because most Americans have, like, the same idea of certain topics, and it's very interesting to me to see how other people view things, because I presume, to a certain extent, like, Americans are definitely wrong on a lot of topics. Anyway. So, yeah, I don't know what, like, Swedish or German school is like compared to American school. But I can tell you that, like, American school... if you're willing to let it do so, is a breeze. I'm going to head back, by the way, now. The school will do everything in its power to prevent you from failing. You have to, like, try hard to actually fail. They will give you chances to do extra credit. They will let you turn in assignments past due dates. They will let you do anything because they do not want you to fail. The sad part about this is it does not in any way actually, like, prepare you for the real world, but for the duration of high school, you've got people that will... What level is this person? I want to see her level! Damn it. Okay, she's 63. You've got people who will, like, do everything to help you succeed. There's no consequences for failure. There's no server safe, crap. There's no consequences for just being, like, a piece of crap and not doing any of the things you're supposed to. Like, the high school is just insanely tolerant of, like, everything you want to screw up on. And the real world is not like that at all. You get out of high school, and it's like, for a moment, you're like, oh, man, everything's going to be awesome. Like, I can go to bed whenever I want. I'll be able to, like, work at McDonald's and get all this money. And then it's like, wow, I've got, like, bills to pay, and you know, saying like, oops, I'll do better next time does not cut it to my manager. He wants to know why the like produce department caught on fire or why I poisoned everybody who purchased a McChicken. He doesn't care about what I've got going on at home or anything like that. He's concerned about his business's bottom line. Yeah, high school is just a period of time where like everything's easy and there's no consequences and there's no real responsibility. To be fair though, you can take on responsibility and like excel in high school, you know, like take honors courses and stuff like that, and then there can start becoming consequences. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, you can kind of just do whatever you want, and it's unfortunate, but it's definitely how it is. Okay, well, I had a good little Hydra hunt there. It was definitely profitable. I don't remember how many arrows I came in with. I suppose I'll never know how many arrows I came in with. Yeah, I'll probably never know. I think I came in with 800 though. Whatever. Long story short is I definitely made profit on this. Let's see how much I actually got on gold. Oh, not that. So I made 13k in gold. Used 19 potions. Still have 2k worth of arrows left over. And then 10k on the warrior helmets, 9k on the Medusa shield. Yeah, some solid profit there. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I appreciated that hunt, by the way, there, just because like I was able to do it mindlessly, which is not something I've been... crap. Alright, well, I'll stay here for a second and just finish what I was saying. I appreciate that I was able to hunt those Hydras kind of mindlessly and able to like focus on actual speaking instead of just kind of being like making light small talk almost normally. This time here I was actually able to be like, I'm going to talk about topics, and I enjoyed this. I don't know if you guys will. Maybe my stories about high school will be a complete waste of everybody else's time and everybody will hate it. But whatever. Anyway, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. And for anybody who's not an American and who wants to tell me what their high school life was like, that would be actually something I would appreciate. In fact, anybody who's not an American and just in general wants to like debate anything, I'd be interested in that too. And that can be done however. Alright, thanks for tuning in.